when I was pregnant with Gail, 5 months pregnant with Gail, I had another really outstanding instant miracle. Besides this neck problem I had, all along I had this, I'd get a spasm in my back. And when I get that spasm in my back, I had to turn all my face all the way to the ground. Bend over like this all the way to get back up again. And when we got married, my dad was walking me down the aisle, and so helped me right down in the middle of the aisle. I had that spasm, and there I had to, he just patiently waited till I got myself back up. But it would happen spontaneously, like I would never know. It just happened, wherever I was. So I was 5 months pregnant with Gail, and I was still having that happen. But this Sunday night they had a service at church where they prayed for people that were sick. So I got in line, and there was people in line, and I was the last one in line. And I was standing there waiting my turn. And across my back, just diagonal, like a 2 or 4, something hit me across the back. It was just like, I knew something hit me in the back. And I turned around to see who was there, and nobody was there. From that time on, I'm 88 years old. I have never had a spasm in my back like that, ever again. So that was one of those where I was just healed right on the spot. Where I was almost like in shock because, what was that behind me? So, but I wanted to make sure that was in there because that was another thing that I had with the dystonia. So now I'm going to go to where I was working for Social Security downtown. I had a good government job. The kids were in school, and all this time I had gone to chiropractors and everything you could imagine to try to get help from. I didn't have pain, I had struggle of holding myself, and my neck would get like stiff. But Galen, from even we started going together, he was a massage therapist for, not degree, but he would work on my neck almost every, because I worked at computers and a desk and stuff, and at night I really needed help. So before we were asleep, he would usually work on my neck. And sometimes he'd go like this. I said, Galen, go to sleep. When he was so tired, he couldn't run my neck. So I thought, just forget it, man. But anyway, then he was a minister, but he did a lot of ministry on the side and worked at regular jobs sometimes. So he was working for the auto industry, and he worked evening shift. And so we'd be out running. Gail was about 11, Louis was about 9. We'd be out running errands, and we was trying to get home because Gail had to go to work. So we had just sold a house and moved to a townhouse and needed new carpet. So we passed this carpet store, and I told Gail, I said, let's stop there and let me get a carpet sample. I'll take it. So we had that husband-wife discussion thing, like, if we stop there, I'm going to be late for work, and he, carrying on. So, lived around the corner, he turned around and went back to the carpet store. So it took about 15 minutes, I guess. I got my carpet sample, and we went out, and all the time, I'm having to hold my head because I'm having to run it up there. Then I had to get myself straight back up. So when we got to the car, this guy come running up behind Gail, and he says, Sir, he says, I want to talk to you in the store, but I didn't want to embarrass your wife. He said, my son did look like your wife. He said he had this neck thing, couldn't hold his head, and he said he went to Dr. Morgan downtown, and he sent him to Cleveland, Ohio, to Cleveland Clinic, and he had surgery, and he said he doesn't have the problem anymore. So he gave us the name of the doctor down at the Commerce Building. His name was Morgan, and actually he was an American Indian, and his real name was Morning Star, which Gail loved because that was Jesus, Morning Star. But he took the name of Morgan to be an American name. But he had been at Mayo's for like 17 years, a doctor in research. And he did his sabbaticals in Vienna where he studied spines. He had a book about that thick of people with dystonia. Now, I had my first symptom of dystonia when I was 6. Now I'm 32. And that's the first time anybody called where I had a name. And dystonia probably wasn't known at the time when I first was at. Well, you go say something. Dystonia was probably not known at the time that they were trying to do research on me. But it was a neuromuscular situation similar to Parkinson's. So this doctor made me an appointment to go to Cleveland Clinic, and I went there and had the surgery. And after that, my head didn't fall backwards. And before, if I would just turn my head a certain way, it would shake like I had Parkinson's. No shake. And then it was a very turned pretty far, but it got to where I could get it almost straight. But they couldn't make it perfectly straight because they said if they'd gone any farther, I probably wouldn't have been able to walk. So what I had was a laminectomy. There was dead nerves in my spinal cord going back to the 4-year-old high fever. So when I had that high fever when I was 4, they think it was probably encephalitis, the mosquito bite thing. And the reason my fingers shook when I was 6 and at 4, and it was just the nerves were slowly dying in my spinal cord. So they took, your spinal cord has like 8 sections, and they took like the 4 on the outside or something. But anyway, that I didn't have that same problem anymore after that. But when you think, we was at a carpet store for 15 minutes, and a man is in the store while we were there for 15 minutes. That didn't just happen. You know what I'm saying? It was the hand of God arranging the time schedule. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times when there's a real dark part in your life or something that you don't understand, just like when I first went to St. Louis with that paralysis, I didn't say, why me, God, why God? But I did wonder what was going on. I've got a paralysis. I can't do my music. I had to stop all my music. But if it hadn't been for that paralysis, I wouldn't have been at that hospital when Galen arrived at that department. Now, if God wanted me to have Galen, he would have probably had him show up in Bismarck, Missouri at the fishing hole or something. But that's not the way it worked. You know what I'm saying? So, what I hope that people would take away from what I'm trying to say here is that don't think that when something doesn't go just right, that's the end, that you just forget it. A lot of times it's just leading you to where you really need to be, where you'll be in your purpose. But you don't know all the time what that purpose is. But God, who knows everything, He knows what the purpose is for you, where He wants you, and He can pretty much know how to get you there. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, that pretty much changed my life forever, because it gave me just a whole lot of freedom. I could drive before then, but it's a whole different story after that. And not the always Paul, what's your problem? It wasn't so it wasn't something noticeable. It's just more like a regular person. So I guess that's where I will stop on that. What you think?
Mom, what do you think? I think that's wonderful hearing how that really happened. And I got to be a part of that. And it really, when I was little, she would have to hold her head like this, and if she let go, it would come back like this and go willy-nilly, and everybody would stare. And so it was like really a big deal. So.
Just a great stroke of fate.
Great stroke of fate. Do you have any questions?
Mm-hmm. Nothing I can think of.
So one thing I'll say, one more thing too. I have some problems right now. But a lot of times when you have big problems, little problems, and you've had such vivid answers, then you just trust God with whatever's there. That's what you want. You just want to be where He wants you to be. Amen.
You want to say something? I just want to say that, this the best mom anybody could ever have. I mean, she lived her life for everybody else, and the fact that she had these problems, she had a different perspective on her life. It was like she didn't know how long she was going to be here. It was like, so everything seemed more important, and that you got to, the things that she wanted to get done. And so I think that's made a difference. And
Do you feel like your life circumstances made you more present?
It might be right.
Made you more present?
Oh, yeah, I think so.
In just every day?
Yeah, I think so. And another thing is that you feel other people's pain differently.
More empathy?
Yeah. And no matter what their lot in life is, I mean, if they're poor, rich, they still have struggles. They still hurt. No matter where. I mean, we all do. The Bible says you're going to have troubles in this world. It says so. So, the thing when you're depending on that this is a God thing, then you can trust that whatever it is going to turn out pretty good. You may not like it at the time. But another thing, talking about the mother, when Gail and Lewis was like, oh my goodness. People complain about, when they were kids, when they were teenagers, when they was 2 or something. But we never had that. Never had that thought. It was like we were a community, the 4 of us. And Galen took nothing, took no nonsense for anything. I mean, you were honest, just like, it wasn't a question in our house, but it was just the love of God that helped us, and we did a lot of things, like you can't replace something, but we had a Youth for Christ club here that was unreal, and we all worked with that. The kids helped us, and so we had a lot of good times. So one reason I'm in Kansas City is because I thought maybe that when this girl got married that there was going to be some people around I had to be with, and you was the first one. Grandson number 1.
I love you.
yeah, we love you, Mom. We love you.
We love you guys too. Yeah. Thank you for doing that.
Of course.
And that's the highlights, because I can't tell the whole thing.
Tell us more.
Oh no, I can't do that.
Well, I can say something. If it weren't for my mom, she and my dad, they helped me grow and believe God. the reality of God and all the miracles that happened, and they were always taking us places where we would learn things about that and see things happen, and it became so real. And when I was 6 years old, I accepted Jesus into my heart because my mom prayed with me, and when I was 7, I got baptized. Didn't mean a lot then because I was young, the baptism thing, but when I was a teenager, I got baptized again with my youth group and really devoted my life, to God. And so anyway, I attribute that to having my mom and my dad put that into my life, and I really appreciate that.
And that's the kind of mom and dad I had too. I had very caring, loving parents. And when I was born, my dad and mom were actually still trying to help their family because, their mom and dad was after the Depression and stuff. So they weren't against God, they just didn't have time. So these two ladies from one of the churches downtown came to our house and asked my mom if they were going to try to raise this baby without God in the house. And they were just two simple little ladies from the church. And so my mom and dad started going to church, and that's why we're where we are today. Well, the two little ladies that went to visit a new baby. So a lot of times the thing that you do, you think it's insignificant, but it affects people, So.
So you were born right after the war.
Yeah, 37.
So what was your parents' kind of story?
Well, my dad, they were down southern Missouri, and his dad almost always had some kind of business, and they lived in Reynolds County. It's way down in Boot Hill, Missouri, I guess. And at first, his dad owned where they make those skids that you put, the old wooden
Pallets.
skids. Yeah, pallets. So his dad run I don't know if he actually owned the whole thing, but anyway, he was a businessman. And he ended up, I have papers that show where he was a judge and where he would marry people and had, have their marriage. I got that box where it says Grandpa's old papers somewhere. And then his wife, my grandma, I don't know for sure. I think she was just like a regular woman of the day, a girl in school, and then got married. And so when they moved to Bismarck, where I was born, Bismarck was a railroad town, and it's what they call a roundhouse. It's where the trains switched. The conductors and all of them would spend the night in Bismarck, and then they'd get up the next morning and go a different direction. But my grandma and grandpa owned a big old white house, and you'd call it bed and breakfast today. But these railroad men, about 6 of them, every night, they would fix them dinner, and then they had their beds and took care of all that. And then the next morning, my dad, my grandpa and grandma fixed them breakfast. And so the railroad men ate breakfast, and then they left off for their next trip. So that next night you might have another group of guys, but they did that, I guess I don't think they did it on Saturday, 5 days a week. So when my mom and dad got married, they lived next door, and my dad worked for them, and he finally went to work for that lumber company. And my mom stayed working with his parents in that boarding house and helped them cook and stuff. And so I was always running around in that boarding house with the railroad guys there, and they thought I was so cute. And so one day, I guess I was about 2 or 3, But I come in the room with all these guys where I had my mom's underpants on my head, and she was humiliated. I had it on like a cat.
You were in trouble, weren't you?
Yeah, I sure was. And then this other guy talked about me and my chocolate, but his name was St. John, Jimmy St. John.
How about that?
Yeah, like Crystal's name. But anyway, he would come in and he'd have a bag of Hershey Kisses. And of course, to me, I was, 4 years old, 3 or 4 years old, and the bag looked that big to me. But anyway, he would say, what's that lady's name over there? And I'd say, Mom. And he'd say, oh, that's not her name. And he when I'd say Pearl, then he'd give me the kisses. I had to call her Pearl. So they kind of had me spoiled.
That was her real name.
Huh?
That was her real name.
Yeah. But then I don't remember my dad sat there in my lap and saying, oh, you sweet thing, you're daddy's angel. But my dad, and I was the only child for like 5 years, so my brother was younger than me. And my dad built a sandbox and he put an old carpet over top for a roof. And I think I told you this, but and then he made me a teeter-totter, and he put a sandbag on one end of it, the way so that I could teeter-totter by myself with that sandbag. And then he was telling me about how he bought me roller skates, and the roller skates, well, I had to have been under 5 because I know it was before my brother was born that I started roller skating. So I spent a lot of my life I loved to roller skate. And then I had dolls and paper dolls and doll houses and baby buggies. And I took care of babies all the time. So that was my fun thing. So that's probably how I ended up taking care of Monica. Yeah.
So what about your mom?
Huh?
What about your mom?
Oh, my mom. Yeah, I should tell about my mom. Oh, my goodness. Well, my mom was one of 9 children, and they lived in a 3-bedroom house. And she had 3 brothers, and her, that was 4, and she had 5 sisters. But anyway, when she was in 8th grade, her dad passed away, and there were still like 4 younger children at home. And there's no government aid. No Social Security, no anything. You either have food or you don't have food, or you've got money or you don't have money. So my mom gave her a basket and told her she's going to have to go to the neighborhood and see if anybody would donate some food. And my mom said, I'm not going through the neighborhood with a basket. She quit school, went uptown, worked in a restaurant where they had all these training people, railroad people. Took care of the restaurant, did business there. So she started out working in a restaurant, and she ended up being the chief cook and bottle washer she got married when she was 26. And after that time, she worked at that restaurant from 8th grade on, because she had to help support her family. But, she was a good cook. But she was a very, she was the kind of, like she would make you want to scrub the woodwork, or I loved to iron. And back in the day, you ironed everything, hankies and pillowcases and all that stuff. But she was a born psychologist, not a degree psychologist.
She made you want to work.
She made you want to work, and made you proud of it. Like you did a really good
How'd you do that?
And then when I was about 7th grade, I just started decorating. Now, my dad would come home and he'd say, "Wonder where my chair is tonight," because I would redecorate, do all kinds of stuff. But one thing that was really fun that she did for my brother when he was before school age, and he had a little friend, neighbor, and my mom would take a wash tub, big old gallonized wash tubs, and fill it with water. And we had apple trees in our yard, and the apples would fall off the tree about this big. And my mom would put them in that big tub full of water, and then she made them fishing poles, And my brother Jim and I were trying to figure that day. We don't even know what she used to get those apples on that hook. But anyway, they would fish these apples out of that water, but just thrilled to death, you know, so busy. But nowadays, you know, kids would say, "Oh my God, a tub full of water with fish and apples." But it was a whole different world. But she had ways of keeping people happy and busy with simple things. You know, didn't have to be video games or, you know, big bikes or nothing like that. But anyway.
How'd she do that?
Right.
How'd she do that? How'd she convince people to want to work? And
Well, she just was like, she was happy doing what she was doing. I mean, she didn't complain that, you know, my dad got to start out when I was, you know, 4 or 5 years old. He got up like 4 in the morning, made a fire in a wood cooking stove in the kitchen, and she made biscuits and gravy and pork chops and eggs and all every morning for him before he went to work. So, and she didn't complain. And they had a kind of funny relationship. Like, she needed a new kitchen stove, and I'm sure they discussed this, and I'm sure they saw it somewhere along the line. But someday he would just hook up a trailer to the car and be gone. Come on with a new stove. And one day he left, and she never knew. I mean, in a small area, he wasn't going to St. Louis, just somewhere around there, you know, within reason. And one day he hitched that trailer up to the car and came home, and he had we didn't call it a stereo then, but it was a record player. It was in a cabinet. It was really pretty, a pretty piece of furniture. I can still see it. I don't think they ever got rid of it. But then she's like surprised, you know. Now that the stove, I think she was expecting, but the record player furniture. But he'd just take off and do, you know, what he wanted to do. But she wasn't on his checkbook or anything. And when she passed away, this cute little lady just won him over. He married her. He must have been, I don't know, 70 years old or something. And but come to find out, my dad was really cute, and he wore his slack pants had creases in them, like sharp creases in his pants. Shiny shoes, clean glasses. I mean, he looked like he might just be some Wall Street guy or something. So this little lady attached to him, and her family got her married off to him, and I don't think he even knew what happened. But anyway, they bought a house together, and then she started having Alzheimer's, and she would fall and be out in the yard and get out in the street and all this stuff. So, but one thing too is her family had discussed with him how come she wasn't on his checkbook, but she was a big spender, like she'd buy her daughter a $1,500 ring or something. But he wasn't gonna help her pay for that kind of stuff. So they were kind of miffed at him because he didn't, you know, help, you know, share stuff with her like that. But anyway, when she started having all that Alzheimer's stuff, my brother told him he had to get a divorce now, because he said they're going to accuse you of battering that woman, you know, when she fell and did all kinds of stuff. But my dad and mom, as far as divorce was concerned, was like a path to hell. He just didn't get a divorce. But we finally convinced him to get a divorce from her.
really,
Because it was really, we were just
scary.
going to sue him and everything else for, you know, her being in trouble.
So it sounds like that relationship was kind of the opposite of his and your mom's,
Yeah,
in that your mom wasn't expecting anything,
no.
and
She was just
it
thankful.
was there,
Yeah,
and
when you think where she came from,
yeah,
you know, she just
Right.
appreciated everything.
Yeah.
It was just like,
yeah, interesting. What did he say about all that?
What
What'd your dad say about all that?
about?
Just the contrast between his second marriage and
Oh,
your
Well,
parents' relationship, and
I think by the time my brother got done with him, he wasn't guilty. He didn't feel guilty.
yeah,
I mean, he felt he'd been rescued.
yeah,
And they had a really nice brick house, and when they sold the house, he just let her have 2/3 of it. He took 1/3 of the money, and you know, did the best he could by her.
yeah,
And she wasn't mean or anything. She just loved to spend money, and then her family was upset because he wouldn't let her be on. And he told her, he said, nobody's ever been on my checkbook, and they're not going to start being on my checkbook now. And so, like with my mom, he gave her money, but she wasn't on his checkbook.
yeah.
Yeah. So, but anyway, that was. And then in the summer, real early, when Gail learned to walk at my mom and dad's house. But I had all this physical stuff. And Gail and I got to discussing that if something happened, who was going to watch after our kids? It would be strangers. So we started leaving the kids at my mom and dad's house 2 weeks at a time every summer, from the time she was little. And that was so that if something did happen, then my mom and dad was just, you know, they were just there. It wasn't some stranger or some stranger.
Mm-hmm.
So my mom and dad loved having them there at the house.
And we loved being there. They took us fishing and to the creek. We'd catch minnows and do all kinds of. We'd walk down to the little town and go to the little trinket store, change and buy things. It was fun. And Grandma, she always wore her little high heels. She's real short. Her little high heels and walking down the street in her high heels. So in her dress. So cute.
I think about her high heels. She wore high heels forever, even when she was working at that restaurant. And the people in town would say they heard Pearl going to work at 5 o'clock this morning because her little heels were clicking on the sidewalk.
So what was her full name?
Pearl Maple
Maple.
Stewart. And I didn't know until about 2 years ago on Home and Garden. My dad always called her Pearly Maple. But on Home and Garden, there is a maple tree that's called Pearly Maple.
Mm-hmm.
And it's special wood, beautiful wood. But I've told the kids and Gail too, I don't know if my mom ever knew she was named after a beautiful tree. But it was beautiful wood. They used it on Home and Garden.
Yeah.
And it's called Pearly Maple.
And he worked with wood.
What's that?
He worked with wood?
Who?
Your dad?
No, but
Not at all?
I'm talking about her dad.
Oh, her
when
dad.
they named her.
Oh, her dad called her
Yeah,
Pearly Maple.
Yeah, I don't know what
see.
the deal was there, but you know, it wasn't that she was just Pearl Maple. They had a reason for it being Pearl Maple. I'm
So
sure.
what'd your grandpa do?
My grandpa?
Yeah.
He kind of was in that same business like my dad's dad. My dad, well, that's who I was talking about actually earlier, was my grandpa.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why I called him.
Your dad's dad?
Huh?
Your dad's
my
dad?
dad's dad, yeah.
So what did your mom's dad do?
I don't really know. I don't know what he did. He worked there in Bismarck, I'm not sure he did. Well, I never did know my mom's. I knew her mother. Her mother died while I was in the 7th grade. But my grandpa never there. I don't remember even seeing him. My mom's dad. So, but he had died when she was in 8th grade.
Yeah.
So that was
Okay. He called her Pearly Maple, huh?
Pearly Maple. And I mean, he did that for fun. You know, we always called her Pearl, but he Pearly Maple. Yeah.
Pearly Maple Stewart.
Yeah.
But when she got married, it was Davis.
Davis, right? What was your dad's name again?
Paul Jean.
Paul Jean.
And my name is Paula Jean.
Paula Jean. Oh,
Yeah.
your middle? Okay.
His middle name was spelled with a G, but her middle name is spelled with a J.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Jim?
Jim is James Edward.
James Edward.
And the James was his, the Edward was my grandpa's middle name. I'm not sure where the James came from, but he's James Edward. And he's almost 5 years younger than me. And he's just been, he and his wife are the most contented people I have ever known. They don't have to have new cars. They don't have to have big houses. Their yards are like a botanical garden. I mean, they just make wonderful life out of whatever. And when my brother, he's always been a singer, but when he was, before he started school, there was a neighbor next door, and her daughter, back in the day when you had TV, you went to a sanitarium. And our neighbor's daughter had been in a sanitarium for TB, and they sent her home to die. So she was at my neighbor's house. And between our house and their house, my dad had built Jim a swing. And he would get in that swing and he would sing to the top of his lungs. All these little Sunday school songs and stuff. And of course, no air conditioning, so the lady next door, that sick lady, she'd hear Jim sing. She loved it. So then, as he grew up, he was a singer, and then when he was in college, he was in a men's quartet. And then as a pastor, he and his wife always sung at nursing homes and stuff, so. But he started out his singing ministry in the swing for that sick lady. I can just see it, because he just like, sing to the top, and they swing as far as they go too. But, a lot of being involved in other people's lives.
Yeah.
Is what my family was about. So that's a blessing in itself, being involved.
And so Karen played the organ, right?
What?
Karen played the organ?
Aunt Karen?
And Karen? Who'd you say?
Karen?
It's talking about Aunt Karen. She didn't play the organ, did she?
She didn't play the organ?
Oh, she played piano.
Piano?
Yeah.
She played the piano and then he would sing?
Well, they had a, she didn't really play piano for him to sing, I think. But they had a musician that was their music director that was like unreal. I mean, if you just hummed a stretch or two, she could make a whole song out of it. In fact, she just now is 99 years old. But she's one of those musicians that just, you didn't have to have music or anything. So she was mostly their piano player. But I know Karen has I think we gave her a piano a long time ago. One of those portable ones.
Mm-hmm.
They would sing duets and stuff at church.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah. Him and her.
yeah. Then when my brother was about 12, my mother told my dad, she says, you're going to have to start doing something with him or else somebody else is. So my dad started taking Jim fishing, and they both got hooked on it. I mean, then my mother was thought, you mean you guys are going fishing again?
She asked for it, didn't she? So he didn't really fish before that. It was kind of started out with those two, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Just to do something together.
Yeah, well, like dads and their sons, it's good when they do things together, like fish. But my mom was concerned because, Dad was all into other kind of stuff. Like building his stuff and his garden and all that. But my mother thought he should be more involved with Jim. So I don't think my dad fished much before then. But
Yeah, he had a big shed out in the backyard, and he would just go hang out in that shed and just tinker around. And
That's what
make stuff.
she was saying. It was like multiple, like connected, right?
what's that?
Grandpa, he had that big shed. He'd go out
Oh,
there
yeah.
and tinker around and make stuff. And
Well, he made birdhouses a lot.
Birdhouses.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
And I don't know. He worked hard on his job during the day. He'd come home, he'd sit down in a chair and go to sleep. But he never. He was always up doing something.
Mm-hmm.
If there wasn't something to do, you made something. You made a project, and we've been the same way.
Mhm.
You know, like we never ever just. I don't remember being bored except when I was about 11 years old, and the neighbor taught me how to crochet. So we just never were bored. There was just too many things you could make and do and whatever. So, I'm done.
Get her organ.
Are you gonna put that on the show?
No, I don't think it's probably hot by now. I was going.
You haven't been talking that long.
Yeah, it feels. I always
I'm
think.
surprised you have a voice left after all that.
Well, I just always worry about people getting sick and tired of me just talking. They have to tell me to.
Nah.
Well, I've had some really fun things happen. One thing was when your dad was a little boy, a baby, he didn't like to go to sleep.
That's for sure.
I have a picture somewhere of him at my house in a baby bed. Old as me. And he's in the corner of the baby bed just like this. He's like, he fell asleep and he just went down a wet dish rag. He was laying in the corner all piled up in a little pile. And he wasn't gonna go to sleep. It wasn't even one that cried over the,
No, that was at the daycare.
no, at your house,
Climbed over what?
over the gate
Oh,
to keep him in the room.
probably.
Yeah. You know, he had those little spread out gates.
Uh-huh.
He didn't know it.
Probably. Sounds right.
But Lois was kind of the same way.
Yeah.
But Gail, she was cooperative. She liked to take a nap.
Finn was such a good sleeper. Look at him yawning right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
He was a good sleeper.
He's been in a senior's home here. He's had all he can take.
Brain injury isn't helping either.
What's that?
Brain injury
Is
isn't
that
helping
is that
either.
affecting you?
Uh,
Making you tired?
Probably.
What happened?
Getting that.
That'll do it.
Sure will.
You have any questions for Grandma?
he's done.
You don't want
I can-
anything you want to know about where you come from? What's happened in the past?
I mean, do you know much about your grandparents?
Not a whole lot. But things were different in that day. Nowadays, people kind of make a point of you knowing your grandparents. You know, have grandparents stay at school and all that kind of stuff. So you kind of, you don't know your grandparents better than you. In fact, childhood didn't used to be childhood. You were a worker for your family. So childhood and teenage is something kind of new over the years that has made you more privileged rather than just being a worker for the family. you know, you got your own little lifestyles. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you think that's better or worse?
What's that?
You think that's better or worse?
There's a happy medium.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cause like I was talking about my dad not holding that, you know, back then it wasn't the same as it is now. It's like there, I'm just now sitting down on their book on raising boys. It's like you want to show your emotions toward that child, not it doesn't make you a man because you don't show emotion. You know what I'm saying? Like you could be what do they call it? A big, anyway, a man can cry and a man can show his emotions. But back before then, it was all this little beauty stuff with their little girls and stuff like they are now. And that a girl needs that.
Yeah.
So, but that I think there's a happy medium. So.
Guys need to agree too.
What's that?
So guys need to agree too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Little boys.
Yeah. What year were your parents born?
What year? What?
What year were your parents born?
My mother was born in 1911 and my dad was born in 1908, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like the world before then, like your grandparents'
Yeah.
world and their world even was
Oh
a
yeah.
huge difference. Like your dad saw like the invention of the airplane, right? And like the invention of the internet even, right?
Oh, my.
Right? Like that's a huge
Oh my.
It's
Yeah.
a huge shift. Yeah.
What?
That's a huge shift.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And just like when my dad bought that record player, there wasn't stereo or
Yeah.
you know, and
Well-
I think stereo actually came in about the time you were born. Gail was born.
Yeah. Yeah. It was like records. It was like
Well,
yeah.
I know when we moved to Kansas City, we lived in this terrible apartment down for sale, and it was okay by me. It was really just the bottom of the line, and there was a big Cass drugstore down on the corner, and Gail came home one night and he says, "You would not believe what I just heard. It was a new stereo, and they had a demonstration at Cass. They had." Somebody with a ping pong ball, and they'd hit the ball, and the sound would, you know, the stereo thing would. It wasn't just like a plain old record playing a record. I mean, the emphasis was there.
So when did records come out?
The vinyls.
Vinyls.
I don't know. I know back in my grandparents' day.
It was like a phonograph? Is that what it was called?
That disc that.
It was like a cartridge, right? It was like a round.
Well, it was like a glass with no bottom.
Yeah.
It was a cylinder.
So like a cylinder. Yeah.
And then came the.
Were those wax? Was that wax in there, or was it like?
I know. They called it a Victrola.
Okay.
The thing that they played it on.
Okay.
But Victrolas were around, but I don't remember ever seeing the things that went on. But that stereo thing that Cass, we were in a really. It wasn't dirty. Just we didn't have much money. And Gail bought that stereo. That's one of those had the doors on it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a pretty piece of furniture. And one story about that thing, I remember when you wanted to listen to it, you opened up the doors. And it was just like speakers. Well, they were spoken. The doors were speakers.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you don't, you close it back. Well, we had them open, and Gail was about, I don't know, 4. And the little neighbor kid Carol was hanging on that door. And she took hold of that little kid. She said, Mommy, don't let us do that. And she took that kid off my stereo door. Well, that was sacred. That stereo was sacred.
Yeah,
to God.
yeah.
And man,
For sure.
We had the records to go on it. So I'll never forget that demonstration with the ping pong ball, and it would show how, I can't how they describe it, but it wasn't just a doll, just a ping pong. It was alive right there in front of you with that ping pong ball.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, our first TV was black and white.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's
Yeah.
Our first TV, remember when
that? Oh yeah.
after Lewis was hit by the car and he had to stay home for so long?
That's
and
when you
had
got.
a nurse
That's when you
come in
got
the
a
house,
TV.
They got a TV and it was black and white. So
And
he
that
had
was
something.
what year?
It would have been 1966.
Okay.
But that was we didn't have a TV until then.
So I was going into 3rd grade.
Well, not a lot of people had TVs, right? I mean, when. And they
Well, a lot
were.
of people, we just depended on games and books. We didn't want TV.
Yeah.
But when it got where Lewis was dead fast, he was in a body cast for weeks and weeks.
Yeah.
And then we got TV.
Yeah. When did the TV become readily available?
Oh, I think they were okay then.
Like
In the early
50s?
60s. It's just that everybody didn't get them because it was like it was too
Expensive.
much distraction.
Oh, distraction.
Yeah. It was a distraction,
Yeah.
like it still is.
Mm-hmm.
Except now the worst thing in distraction is the video thing. I mean the
Phones.
well, maybe not phones, but all that social media stuff that
Yeah.
Facebook.
is so
Yep.
it's so fake.
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, your grandparents would have not, like, cars were invented like at the turn of the century, right? Like around the time your parents were born, right?
Yeah, because we had cars, but they were. If you saw that one now, it would be really old model.
Yeah. I mean, what year was the Model T
I don't know.
invented?
We never did. They never had Model Ts, but
What year? 88. 1888. Look it up. That's it's crazy the changes just over.
oh yeah, yeah. And how fast?
Yeah.
1908.
1908.
What was it?
And what year were your parents born?
My dad, 1908.
1908. Same year as the Model T.
Oh my goodness.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and so I mean, everybody would have been horse and buggy before that, like when
Yeah.
your grandparents were kicking it around, and
Yeah.
just a completely different world.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
if you lived in the last 100 years, I mean, it's
You would have
just
seen
like
so much
totally turned
completely
about.
changed.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I have a book over there. It's called Our Fabulous Century, and it tells all that, the stuff in the last 100 years.
Yeah. Mercedes.
That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah. But those weren't like commercially available.
Well, I mean,
Right.
they started selling them in 1888.
But it's
Yeah.
funny about the car industry. When I was in high school, this was in the 50s, cars were a piece of artwork. When somebody got a new car, the whole neighborhood went to look at it.
Yep.
And you knew coming down the street that was a Chevy. And you knew a Ford by the way they were pieces of art.
Yeah.
And then it got to where everything just like now it's just like You say, oh my goodness, you mean that's a Cadillac?
Yeah, you can't
They all
tell.
look the
They all
same.
look.
Yeah, you can't,
Crazy.
everything just, you know. But some of the others, in that year, it's almost comical. Because like the ones with the big fins and all that, you know, just, somebody just getting carried away with what they did.
Yeah.
But, cause I remember my music teacher in high school, he got a new automobile, and of course, when I think about it now, it was our music teacher, he probably was like 28 years old or something. And not very many people in Bismarck, you know, were always sporting a new car, but he'd, you know, take us to a meeting or a concert or something, and the ones got to ride his new car, that was really something else. New automobile was automobile. But, then it got to where everything, like you said, everything looks the same. So.
Where do you think we're going?
Where were we going?
Yeah.
What, in the cars?
No, I mean, where are we going as a?
There's a world.
Species.
Yeah.
People.
Oh. Oh Lord, I don't know. It's just, it could stop any time. I mean, as far as the knowledge, just like that, artificial intelligence, I don't know. I think that's a little carried away. And I don't think we need to keep going into that.
Yeah.
And I don't think we need a nuclear plant on Mars. Is that good, a nuclear plant? Yeah. Something that, Russia's trying to do, we need to see if we can beat them to it. Some stupid thing on another planet, like a nuclear plant or something, I don't know. But it's just like, my mom would have said, ignorance gone to seed.
So did we land on the moon or did we not land on the moon?
Oh, I gotta tell you a funny story about that.
Let's hear it.
It's not my story, it's a story I
That's a
heard.
good story.
I just love this story. The guy that landed on the moon, what was it?
Buzz Aldrin.
Neil Armstrong.
Neil Armstrong.
Okay. Yeah.
Quick story.
Yeah, Neil Armstrong.
Not Buzz
The little
Lightyear.
town he lived in, I think there was 4 Armstrong boys, and their next door neighbor, their ball was always going in the yard and stuff, and the neighbor lady didn't like it. She's kind of cranky. But the neighbor guy, he liked those little boys, so they had a good time. But anyway, Neil Armstrong, he was about 10, and the ball went over in the neighbor's yard. He went to get it, and it went right underneath their dining room window. And he said they were just having a knockdown drag out. She was saying, he said, I'm going to make this so we can say it in public. But he said, he was saying, when are you going to give me some loving? When are you going to kiss me? When are you going to, oh, well, you know, she wasn't taking care of him. So anyway, she says, well, I'll tell you what, when one of those Armstrong boys walk on the moon, you got it. He was 10 years old, he heard that. The night he walked on the moon and said, one step for mankind, all that kind of stuff. And
He was saying it all for that neighbor, huh?
No. So anyway, he said that, and then he said, and God bless America. And God bless Mr. Spencer
What?
tonight.
What? He said that?
Yeah, but he
No.
turned the mic off. And God bless Mr. Spencer tonight.
Isn't that good?
I love that.
I could tell. I love that smile.
But, I mean, it's just so funny that it really happened. You know, it's like, well, you know, nobody's ever gonna walk on the moon. But, that was funny. But I heard that story again recently. You know. And then that one of those guys that's there with him just passed away. Lovell or whatever, that was on the moon.
Who was it?
One of the guys that walked on the moon, I think the same time that Armstrong did. I think he just passed away. James Lovell or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah. But I love that Neil Armstrong story.
What else, guys?
Hey, are you gonna be able to send me that video?
Mm-hmm.
To see if it's
She wants to cut some things out of it.
You want to do it again? You.
what? No, I don't want to do it again.
So what are you going to talk about next time?
Next time? Oh, I got stuff to talk about.
Yeah.
I mean, I had an interesting life. I loved school,
Yeah.
and all kinds of things happened there. And
What'd you like most about school?
I guess just learning is all this stuff, and I loved artwork, and I loved the music, and it was just like, and I did really well in school, so I, got a little, I got what you call accolades because people, knew I liked school. And I can remember in second grade, I can remember when Crayola came out with the dark turquoise crayon. Man, I loved it.
That's your color, huh? Dark turquoise.
It was in second grade. It was something new.
Yeah.
It was a big deal. They had new colors.
Beyond the primaries, huh?
Yeah.
So you wanted to be a music teacher.
Yeah. Well,
And were you a music teacher?
No, but the reason I wanted to be a music teacher, at church, when I think about it, she was a teenager, she must have been about 16. And she played piano in children's church. And she let me sit on the piano bench while she played all this. And she's a really sweet person and really sweet to me. So anyway, I wanted to be just like her. Jeannie Rubel was the daughter of that girl, that lady with the braid on her head. So anyway, when I was about second grade, well, then they start kind of asking you what you want to do, So I decided I wanted to be a music teacher, but I needed a piano. So I started crying for a piano in second grade, and I got a surprise piano when I was in fifth grade. So I started taking piano lessons in fifth grade. And then when I got in high school, I did mixed chorus, girls glee club, band, and I played. We talked about that didn't we? I played you're hearing this story again.
No.
And I played the alto horn, and it had a mouthpiece like a trumpet. And then when I got this neck trouble, I was not going to quit any of that stuff, but you're playing this like a trumpet, and then it split my lip because I was trying to hold my head still. So I had to quit playing the trumpet because of my split lip. And then I had to quit taking piano lessons because of my arm messing up. So my music career kind of went by the wayside when I got all this paralysis thing. But then God gave me two gifted musicians. And Lewis is, and his son is just something else. He's a gifted musician too. So, but that was till I got a paralysis. That was my deal. I was going to be a music teacher, and then I could be a missionary at the same time, So, anyway.
She still played the piano.
Well,
She would play the piano for the kids, and she'd play it for Daddy to sing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And everything.
And I remember the piano. I remember the accordion.
Yeah.
And you had a mandolin.
Yeah.
Did you play that thing?
No, but I did play the accordion a little bit. Lewis, I was a clown for a while.
Uh-huh.
And Lewis bought me that little accordion to use when I did a clown party.
How do you go from being a music teacher to being a clown? What's the segue
it
there?
wasn't hard. I used to tell people I used to be a clown. Gail says,
They say
she
you used to.
used to be a clown.
She was Raggedy Ann. Isn't that what
And
you were?
Gail, in fact, Gail made the whole thing while she was pregnant with you.
Yeah.
My whole outfit. I have pictures of it somewhere. But I did, I went to nursing homes a couple of times, but I did kids' parties. But I was working full time, and when you do a clown party, you gotta make all those little balloon things, you gotta make little things to go for the kids. So it was fun, but it was too much, I had too much homework at night, I couldn't keep up with it. So, but they actually had a class at JUCO.
Oh, yeah?
For clowns, yeah. Like to help you with your makeup and all that stuff. So that was one of my fun things. Yeah, I loved it. I loved to cook and bake and all that stuff. And I loved just, I loved being a mom and a wife. And I went to Monica's parents' jewelry store to apply for a job as a gift wrap person. And so she's just talking to me, what do I like to do? And I said, well, you know, I really just like being a wife and mother. And I said, I even like to wash windows. So a few days later, she called me back and told me that Mentor needed a housekeeper, would I like to be a housekeeper? So first I said housekeeper and cook their meals. You know, they told me I was going to cook their meals. I thought, oh my Lord, you mean I'm going to cook for some other people? But they had their plans, and you know, wanted me to cook a recipe and all that stuff.
Oh, they had recipes and everything. You were just doing the recipes?
What's that?
You were doing the recipes that they had? And
Yeah, most of them.
Okay.
And but they worked, you know, their own jewelry store. So I would fix dinner, and then they had a big warming oven, and just put their dinner in the warming oven and go home. So I fixed their dinner every night before I went home from my job. And then when she got pregnant, then I became nanny, and they hired a different housekeeper.
They really liked her.
Yeah, I could tell.
Yeah, that was one of the best jobs I ever had because I still have her. You know, so. And the thing I talked about you and Monica being together, it was an old Shawnee days, Gail said.
Yeah, we had a
Old
parade,
Shawnee
and
days.
remember we had the big trailer, and we had all the dental stuff.
And I was the dental floss?
And were you?
I think so.
And we had people be teeth, and I mean, and I was pushing somebody in a stroller, and
Okay.
they threw
And,
dental equipment out to people,
Okay.
dental supplies.
and sometimes we kept Monica here at our house. When she, you know, they let her stay here a few days, and so she was here during that time. That's why she's in pictures.
Okay. I thought I remembered like going to the zoo or something with her or something, but maybe it was that.
Oh, we've been to the zoo with her. There's pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
petting goats and stuff.
Yeah.
Was
Yeah.
it the zoo or Deanna Rose?
No, it was Deanna Rose.
Louisiana Rose?
Yeah, Deanna
Oh,
Rose.
maybe that's what it
Yeah, that's what.
Yeah.
was. Okay.
I don't got anything.
He's taking notes, so when he has to tell his life story.
What's
Yeah.
that?
I said, Finn's taking notes, so when he has to tell his life story.
Okay. Is that it
I said,
for now?
That was
Nothing else.
no, not for now.
You're saving all of the secrets for next time when
Yeah.
it's just me and you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I didn't know, I mean, I'm not gonna be around here very long. And I got to thinking, I mean, I really had some wonderful things happen in my life. And it involved all you people. But you didn't know that. So I want you to know that,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, and she's wanted to write a book. You know,
Yeah, and I'll
that's-
tell you, Monica told me this book writing system, it's brand new, it's on the Shark Tank.
Oh yeah.
Did I tell you
Book
about it?
writing system. You didn't tell me about this.
Well, you go online and you have to join, and you once a week, if you want it once a week, they send you a prompt of what you should, like something to remind you to tell about your life. So you tell it to them, and then they print it, and when you get all this put together, they print the whole book that you told them with your mouth.
Okay.
And then when the book is all completed, down in the corner of each page is one of those funny little code things that you put your phone on.
QR things.
Huh?
QR code.
Yeah.
And it speaks it through your voice.
Yeah. So you got the book you give somebody, and then they can listen to you too. And so Monica says that, she says, let's get that together. She said, if you want that, I'll buy it for you. So I gotta think, I'm not gonna do it right away, because you've gotta be, it'd have to be where you want to be consistent, like every week or, I gotta be where I feel like doing something all the time,
Yeah.
consistent.
Yeah.
But they said that a lot of grandparents are using that
Yeah.
to tell their story.
Well, that would be very cool.
Because I kept, when I started this idea 8 years ago, that I was gonna write this book, I could write. But older people get where writing is a chore. But we can run our mouth.
That was- All right.